Yaakov was leaving Eretz Yisrael, running away from his brother, chasing him to try and kill him. And as he leaves, as he's about to leave, it says, "Vayifga b'makom." He bumped into the place, encountered the place. It's not clear what does the phrase mean. Chazal understand that b'makom here refers not to the place, a physical place, but to Kodesh Baruch Hu. And they learn from here that Yaakov Avinu davened Maariv. It's part of a broader Masorah that Chachamim had, that the three avot were metaking three tefillah to the day: Avraham Shachrit, Yitzchak Mincha, and Yaakov Maariv. But there's a crucial difference between the way we learn that Avraham and Yitzchak davened and Yaakov. But Avraham and Yitzchak, we hear that Avraham returned to the place where he always stood, V'yamod Sham. It sounds like Avraham always davened Shachrit, not quite sure when he began. So to Yitzchak, he went out to the fields to daven. Suach b'sadeh. There's not a feeling that this was like the first time. But by Yaakov, that's exactly the impression we get. Vayifga b'makom. He bumped into the place. It was an encounter, a chance encounter. He wasn't planning on doing it. And suddenly, at this point, Yaakov davened Maariv. And the Chazal understand he didn't just daven Maariv, it was metakein, l'dorot. That all his descendants should continue to daven Maariv. Something happened as he was leaving Eretz Yisrael to go into Galut that made him realize that he should start to daven Maariv and continue to daven Maariv ever after. The Gur Aryeh picks up here on Rashi that says he wasn't even planning on daven Maariv. It says Kiva Hashemesh. Rashi points out that in terms of the grammar that it sounds like the sun had suddenly set, right, earlier than it should have done. In other words, he was really planning on davening Mincha, and Hashem artificially made the sun set early in order that what should have been a Mincha ended up being a Maariv. And therefore, Yaakov wasn't even planning on davening Maariv. He was planning on davening Mincha, but he ended up davening Maariv, and he realized, whoa, it's possible to daven Maariv. What's the asod of going on here? So, the truth is, there's a fundamental difference between Shachris Mincha as opposed to Maariv. Lagid baboker chazdecha ve'emunatcha baleilot. The day is a time of chesed, a time of clarity. We can feel, we see the world moving, the world's alive, and we see HaKadosh Baruch Hu's revelation through the movement of the world, His presence, His hashkacha. Nighttime is always a mashal for haziness, for a lack of clarity. We don't feel so much Hashem's chesed. It's more a time of emunah. We know HaKadosh Baruch Hu's there, but it's not so obvious. When we talk about davening, we talk about talking to Hashem, being in conversation with Hashem. That seems very obvious during the day, Shachrit and Mincha. But the idea that somebody could talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu at night, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu isn't openly present, that's very difficult to understand. And indeed, Yaakov didn't. For his whole life, he was Yoshev Tam, Yoshev Olim. He had been growing up in the halls of the Beit Midrash, and yet he never davened Maariv. He didn't feel the need to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu at night. But as he was about to go into Galut, as he was about to go from a place where HaKadosh Baruch Hu was openly present in Eretz Yisrael, into a place where HaKadosh Baruch Hu was hidden in Galut, where it's harder to feel the relationship, at that point, he davened Maariv. HaKadosh Baruch Hu organized that he would end up davening Maariv, and he discovered the secret that it's possible to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even in times which are difficult, even in times when Hashem's hashkacha is less apparent, even in times where all we have is our emunah that Hashem is there and we don't see Him openly. That was the chiddush of Maariv. There's a machloket in the Gemara if Arvit is a reshut or a chava. Many Rishonim, Rashi and Shabbos says explicitly that the question of whether it's a reshut or a chava is really what do you think the basis of the tefillot are. There's a machloket in the Gemara whether tefillot are parallel to the korbanot or parallel to the avot. One opinion holds a parallel to the korbanot. Shacharit and Mincha are parallel to the korban atamid, and Maariv is when they would burn off the leftover fats at night. So it's clear why there should be a difference between Shacharit and Mincha and Maariv. Maariv it's not an obvious mitzvah. There's something there, but if tefillot are keneged the avot tiknum, then why should there be any difference between Shacharit, Mincha, or Maariv? Each one of the avot is equally important. We'd expect the Maariv would also be a chova, and that's what Rashi says. The machloket, the yesod of machloket, if tefillot avot tiknum or tefillot keneged korbanot, is whether you think the avot created them, in which case they're all the same, or it's parallel to the korbanot. But the she'iltot, on the one hand, paskins avot tiknum, and on the other hand, says that Arvit is a reshut. How can that be? So the Tziv on the she'iltot explains like this. He says beautifully. The opinion of the Rif and the Bahag is when we say that Tfilat Arvit is reshut, it means a person never has to daven it until one time he decides to daven Arvit. And once he decides one time to daven Arvit, at that point it becomes a chova forever. He says, and we learn that from Yaakov Avinu. His whole life he never davened Maariv. And then suddenly he discovered Maariv. He realized this, I need to daven. I'm going to go, look, there's a reason to relate to Kodesh Baruch Hu, even in times when things are less clear. And from that day, he always davened Maariv every single day. In other words, once the person discovers the possibility of connecting to Hashem, even in the dark times, then he realizes it's possible, and Memele it's machayev him forevermore. And that's the secret of Tfilat Arvit Reshut. It's a responsibility to find the relationship with Hashem, even in time of when it's not so clear, and then we continue that relationship beyond and forevermore. Shabbat Shalom.